Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is a sick little video here. We got the whole shock apart again. We've been having some noise on the front suspension, first on the driver's side, and then we ended up switching the top hat location on the driver's side shock. You see this arrow right here? This arrow is supposed to point to the front of the car like so. So when it's sitting in the shock tower, the proper orientation is like that. The driver's side shock top hat was pointing inward, so we ended up switching that just like that. We loosened the top nuts a little bit and we tightened them by hand, and everything was good for about 2-3 days. And then out of nowhere it starts making noise again. Now both sides are making noise, so at first I went ahead and tightened the top hats again. You know, we tried to straighten these top hats out last time. As you can see, they're not perfectly straight, so we kind of ghetto rigged that. Anyway, long story short, you can see this piece comes apart. Typically those two pieces would not come apart, and yeah, it's not the straightest piece in the world, but the actual top head looks solid. Like the bushing right here looks good. So is the culprit of the clunking right here between these two metal pieces? I'm not sure. I mean, I would think when I tighten the top head, everything would get tightened. One other thing I noticed is these studs actually right here. You see, I can move the studs. After I bent the top hat, the studs are moving. But again, once I tighten everything, nothing should move. But anyway, what we're gonna do right now, just to, you know, rule out anything when we're gonna reinstall it, is we're gonna pop this on right here. And I already used the grinder, some of the metal, to get some bare metal on every corner, and we're gonna tack weld these two metal pieces together. We're also gonna tack weld these bolts onto the top hat so it does not move, and hopefully that's gonna help rule out the noise. Now this time when I'm gonna reinstall everything, I'm just gonna tighten this up. Simply put, you know, this is how the top hat looks like. There's a bushing right there, and it rests right on here. So as you can see, once you tighten that up, this should not move, for those that you are wondering. So if your top bolt is not tight enough, what's going to happen is there's going to be play when you're driving over bumps, and you might have some noise here. So I'm not sure if that noise was coming from this location. Again, I undid the top hat bolts that I did with the gun. I felt like it was maybe too tight, and I just tightened them by hand. But again, once the vehicle is sitting on the shock, it's compressing more, you might have to tighten it a little bit more. So again, today we're gonna tack that on. We're gonna tack these pieces on right here, and then we're gonna tighten it up. We're gonna have to use that spring compressor again, pop this in, and that's just the beauty of doing things with your suspension. You're just gonna have a fun time taking stuff off and on, especially if it's used components. Overall, I'm still happy with the purchase. The car looks great with these shocks, so as long as we can get rid of this noise, eliminate the noise, we'll be smooth as butter. So let's give it a shot here. Hopefully my welding's gotten better so I can tack this on no problem. to go now. Hopefully those pieces are not going to be clunking. If that was the culprit after all, not too bad. Alright, so the shock is all done. Again, we're going to keep track of this arrow. This is going to go to the front of the car. The shock itself is sitting in the proper locations. Here you can see the bottom nipples in the right location. The rubber boot is sitting perfectly on this location. Again, we welded this nice and tight, so none of the studs are moving anymore. They might not sit perfectly inside the location they need to sit, but as you can see, that one's a little weird looking. But yeah, hopefully that solved the issue. If not, time for a new car. Now, one thing I can certainly do is just take off the good top hat I had right here, swap it onto this one. But the fact is, I don't want to take apart this whole assembly since it's already one piece and good to go. Anyway guys, check out that finger we smashed.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true, but the world is pretty cold. You might need a sweater too. I'ma put a ride on ya. Kid from California, trying to make it in life. In school they never taught ya. Dreams of